Ukraine is becoming Europe's drug lord, while Turkey is trying to steal Crimea, forcing Ukraine to hang a huge debt on the people of the occupied territories. Welcome to StopFake, the place where we break down Russian disinformation about Ukraine and a little more. So let's get to it. Against the backdrop of a poll initiated by Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky asking Ukrainians whether they approved of the legalization of medical marijuana, Russian media unleashed a virtual avalanche of fakes claiming that Ukraine is becoming a drug hub and the main supplier of drugs to Europe and the United States. The medical cannabis lobby generously financed the president's PR to show a picture of the entire country supporting the legalization of weed, Ukraina.ru warned, claiming that former health minister Ulana Suprun, the better half of yours truly, together with George Soros and his network, were the main lobbyists for marijuana legalization. The publication claims that after 2014, the push for medical marijuana legalization increased, and now the entire process is driven by international pharmaceutical giants who have suddenly turned their attention to Ukraine, a country that, of course, is tightly controlled by the United States and the European Union. The pluses and minuses of legalizing marijuana are being discussed in many countries. In Great Britain, for example, drugs containing cannabis are prescribed only by a limited number of doctors, and only certain companies with special licenses can become importers. And at the moment, the price of these medicines is quite high. But the Ukrainian Medical Cannabis Association believes that marijuana legalization will allow for greater control of the quality of the cannabis and help establish clear rules for handling the relevant drugs. It is also hoped that such legalization will help level the black market for medical marijuana, where there is no control or regulation over the quality or origin of cannabis-based drugs. The association advocates legalizing medical marijuana in a manner similar to opiate regulation. It should be dispensed only with a prescription issued by a special doctor and sold only in specialized pharmacies owned by the state. The author of the medical marijuana law, Member of Parliament Alexander Opanasenko, says the law specifically outlines very strict controls over medical marijuana use and distribution. Opanasenko explained that the law envisions strict regulations over all drugs. Marijuana used for medical reasons is currently allowed in several European countries, including Denmark, Austria, Italy, Switzerland, Poland, Finland, and North Macedonia. Medical marijuana is also allowed in Turkey, Israel, Russia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Peru, Thailand, Vanuatu, and Panama. Ukraine has dragged Turkey into a union against Crimea. Turkey is cooperating with Ukraine to spite the Kremlin, and Ankara does not really recognize Crimea as Ukrainian, but rather considers the peninsula its own territory and dreams of making it a part of Turkey. The clown and the sultan, okay. All of this is how Russian media reacted to the news that the Turkish government is ready to cooperate with Ukraine on Crimea. These stories began appearing in Russian media after Turkish President Erdogan announced that Turkey is ready to work with Ukraine within the framework of the Crimean Platform consultative body. Now, last July, Ukraine's foreign ministry launched the Crimean Platform, an international consultative mechanism focused on the consequences of Russia's occupation of Crimea. This initiative will eventually become a negotiation platform on the deoccupation of the Ukrainian peninsula. According to the ministry, the initiative will work on the level of heads of state, foreign ministries, parliaments, and experts. A multi-level summit on the Crimean occupation is planned for 2021. According to Ukrainian Deputy Foreign Secretary Emine Japarova, quote, "The Crimean Platform will strengthen international non-recognition policy of Russia's annexation of Crimea, create additional opportunities to quickly respond to growing security threats posed by Russia's militarization in the Black and Azov Seas, and consolidate political pressures on the Kremlin, including sanctions, to counteract further gross human rights violations." The European Union, the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom intend to join the consultative platform. Separate EU countries such as Poland, Romania, Germany, France, and Sweden have also confirmed their solidarity with Ukraine and their intention to join. Then, on October the 16th, Turkey joined the Crimean coalition, resulting in a flurry of negativity in the Russian media about alleged selfish Turkish interests in Crimea. Without making any claims about Crimea, Turkey has in fact repeatedly and officially stated that it does not support Russia's annexation of Ukraine's peninsula and opposes the Kremlin's occupation. Turkish authorities also emphasized that Turkey's priority is respect for the rights of Crimean Tatars, whose rights the Kremlin is currently massively violating. In a statement on the 6th anniversary of Russia's illegal occupation of Crimea, the Turkish Foreign Ministry said, quote, For Turkey, the priority remains ensuring that the Crimean Tatars living in Crimea continue to live in prosperity and security in their historic homeland, protect their cultural identity, and to end their suffering as a result of the occupation. According to Ukrainian human rights organization Crimea SOS, the largest number of criminal cases against Crimean Tatars since the beginning of the occupation was recorded in 2019 when Russia illegally detained about 30 Crimean Tatars on trumped-up charges of links to Hizb ut-Tahrir. In just 1 year, hundreds of illegal searches, detentions, and arrests, and dozens of politically motivated cases have been reported in Crimea. It's important to note that 70% of all political prisoners are Crimean Tatars. Russia's propaganda machine is circulating a fresh new fake, claiming that Ukraine plans to hang a huge debt on the residents of Russian-occupied eastern Donbas. The residents of the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics will be saddled with a debt of over 100 billion for Ukraine's financial losses resulting from the war. This fake narrative appeared in Russian media after Ukraine's reintegration minister Alexei Reznikov stated that Ukraine has suffered enormous economic and humanitarian losses due to Russian aggression. In an interview with Ukraine's television channel 24, Reznikov noted that 9.5 million Ukrainians were affected by the Kremlin's war, 7 million in the Donbas and 2.5 million in the Crimean Peninsula, with 14,000 Ukrainians dying as a result of the war. Reznikov put a number on all those losses at $100 billion. He also said that a minimum of $22 billion is needed just to physically rebuild the Donbas after the region is liberated. Now, Reznikov did not just pull that 100 billion figure out of a hat, as Russian analysts claim. This summer, experts from the Vienna Institute for International Economic Studies calculated that the reconstruction of the Donbas will cost at least $21.7 billion, or 16% of Ukraine's GDP. According to the American think tank the Atlantic Council, the price tag of Russia's aggression in Ukraine is indeed very high. In a special report by the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center entitled Kremlin Aggression in Ukraine, The Price Tag, Anders Osland writes that if Kyiv loses occupied Crimea and the Donbas forever, the total asset value loss would be an estimated $98.4 billion for Ukraine. Osland noted that the $100 billion figure does not include humanitarian and political losses Ukraine has incurred. It was these estimates that Reznikov was referring to in his Ukraine 24 television appearance. The occupied Crimean Peninsula and the Russian-occupied part of the Donbas region together provided 14% of Ukraine's GDP. Taking Ukraine's 2013 GDP as a base, the value of lost assets in Ukraine is more than $100 billion, in which about $23 billion was lost in Crimea and $73 billion in eastern Donbas. In Crimea, the losses are largely oil and gas resources, bank assets, agricultural areas, and more. Similar losses were incurred in eastern Donbas, along with a massive destruction of the region's infrastructure. That's it for this week. Stay safe and be on the lookout for fakes. Wearing a mask, washing your hands, and social distancing will protect you from the coronavirus, and critical thinking will protect you from Russian disinformation. Remember, if you spot any disinformation about Ukraine, forward it to us for a truth autopsy. I'm Marko Suprun, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.